A leader must always recognize that he is at the same time a disciple. Even as leaders, as shepherds, we continue to be the sheep of God. And so a leader must be willing to learn, conscious of our own limitations when we are leading. Otherwise, we can cause more harm than good. And leaders, very often, they act in ignorance. There are two ways leaders are ignorant. First is simply intellectual ignorance because of pride. And especially when we live in a world of individualism and relativism, all of us think that we have the right answer to every question in life. When we look at the divisions among religions in the world, it is because of intellectual pride that we often misinterpret others' religious beliefs, or we distort what others are saying, or what other believers truly believed in. We read a little bit here and there, and very often from wrong sources, and we give our interpretations and explanations to our own believers, causing them to be even more misled. Hopefully one day a person can be enlightened and to discover the truth and to recognize that he has been ignorant. This kind of ignorance can be forgiven much easier. That is why the Lord Jesus, when he was hanging on the cross, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing." But there is the other kind of ignorance. It is ignorance that springs from misguided zeal. Being zealous for the gospel, zealous for our faith is a good thing. But unfortunately, when you are overzealous, you are so focused on your faith, on the way you understand your faith, on the way you understand other people's religion, that we tend to impose our faith on others. And we tend to condemn others who do not subscribe to what we believed. That is why those who are overzealous are over-defensive of whatever they say, trying to run down others. If we are not overzealous, then we be ready to offer our views firmly, at the same time receptive, open to the views of others. Because we can learn something, we can dialogue, we can discover new things that perhaps we have not seen. It is through dialogue, through trying to understand where they are coming from, that we are able to engage people who think differently from us in a much better way. Normally, a person who has misguided zeal, very often, they come from very wounded background. They had some traumatic experience in their life. And that is why they tend to look at situations in life from a very narrow perspective and from a very wounded perspective. St. Paul was zealous in preaching the gospel as well. He was not persecuting people. He was not discrediting other people. But he was firm in his belief. And he tried to engage people, the Gentiles, the Greeks, who did not share in his belief. He was open, receptive. He was always offering the gospel free, but without imposition, and always with respect. Because, why? He was healed by the Lord. The truth blinded him. And that blindness caused him to be able to read deep into his own wounded heart of the past. And because of that, he was healed of his self-righteousness, of all his fears. He was trying to achieve salvation through the laws. But after he met Christ, and Christ called him and spoke to him, he was healed. He was no longer self-righteous, but he was full of fervor still. That is the Christian zeal. Out of love, out of compassion. When we do things out of love, it is always a gift. Never any form of coercion. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, we must pray for this gift, that the Lord will heal our hearts, heal our woundedness, heal our blindness, so that we can guide others. And Jesus wants us, take the plank out of your own eye first, and then you will be able to see clearly enough to take the splinter that is in your brother's eyes.